All right.
Okay, cool.
Rise and shine, roommates. It's your girl, LaSasha Turner, and this is a different episode. As you remember, I put on my page that these months are going to be different. We have different genres, different people speaking, and this month is podcast hosts. I am so excited for this interview simply because it's a clash. We got United States, and then we got our girl, Jennifer, who's from the UK, and I'm just so excited to speak to her because your podcast is like A1. Like, I just love it. So we have to get into it.
Oh, thank you.
So tell me, like, what got you started?
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so excited. What got me started? So, funny enough, I'm based in the UK. I'm originally from the States, and I went to an HBCU. So whoop whoop Hampton, the real HU. So I went to the HBCU, and yay! And my major was journalism. And I've always liked writing. I just liked communicating. And I was on my school newspaper, and I would feature on there and write stuff on there. So I kind of had a knick-knack and things like that. And then graduated, and I moved to the DC area, and I started a blog. And the blog was about me navigating my way in the dating space. And it did really well. And the topics about love, relationships, like, I love talking about stuff like that. I love hearing about conversations like that. But I just didn't have the energy in me to write content. But I still was always engaging in that type of discussion. Fast forward later, I started listening to the Read podcast. That was actually my first podcast.
Great.
And from the moment that I listened to the Read, I kind of got hooked, and I thought, I want to do that. I want to sit on a platform and just talk about what happens in that dating space. And it took me a good 2 years to build the confidence to do so. So I listened to the Read, I listened to the Receipts podcast, Laid Bare. There was quite a few podcasts. And then I decided that last year during this pandemic, why not utilize my opportunity and the time to actually put into something that I really wanted to do. And so that's how, Let's Chat podcast came to life.
Well, that's really inspiring simply because, like, that's simply my kind of background when it comes to getting into podcasts. Like, I started in school. I wasn't under journalism. I was under media communications, but I was actually writing for the newspaper for my college. And I'm like, I just got to let out what I want to say, so I definitely understand, like, the drive when it comes to even being in, like, the journalism field, and learning new steps, and every story is just more exciting because you get to express yourself. So that's great. I love that. Mm-hmm. Now, are you from the UK or are you from the United States and moved to the UK, or?
Yeah, so I'm originally from the States. So my hometown is Boston.
Nice.
And funny enough, so I'm from Boston, so I'm an East Coast girl all the way. And I had the opportunity to do my master's. And it was either staying in DC and going to Georgetown, or going to London. And I thought, for the opportunity, the experience, and the price, why not go to London? So, and I have family here as well. So I came, did my master's, wasn't expecting to stay as long as I did. It was only a 1-year course. That 1 year has now been 8 years. And I haven't left since. So the accent.
8 years?
I know, I've been here for 8 years.
So young now. You're talking about you, like, when you were in college and you came here. You look like you're my age. What? I'm so sorry.
How old? Wait, okay, first of all, how old are you?
I'm 21. I'll be 20.
If you don't mind me asking.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Okay. So you're a baby. Okay, so you're a baby. Definitely older than you. I'm definitely older than you.
You definitely look like my age. That's so funny.
Oh, you know what? I'm taking those flowers, girl. I'm taking them. Thank you.
Well,
yes, I've been here for 8 years.
Oh, that's great. I would love to move to anywhere actually out of the United States. I feel like it's just better. It's fresh air. It's new light, more common sense. Sorry, but yeah,
Mm.
it's just out of the United States is so much better.
I feel you. I feel you on that for sure.
Let's get into you as a host, so because you do integrate your feelings and your personality and also your opinion very well. I don't feel like listening to your podcast, I feel like that you weren't biased at all. It was more of how you felt than your opinion, which is great. You allow me to feel like you weren't speaking in a direct term. You were just speaking openly, which I love. So just tell me about you as a host and how your podcast actually shaped you into a different person.
Well, that's a really good question. And the thing is, when I started my podcast, the intention was because sometimes you listen to other people's podcasts and you can get inspiration, and then maybe you start looking at their style and the way that they talk and the way that they handle their opinions and questions, and you think, oh well, okay, that seems quite popular. Should I adapt to that, or should I then do this? And the one thing I always said was, I'm going to be my 100% authentic self,
Right.
period. Like,
Period.
there's no other way to be. If I try to, yeah, there's no other way to be. If I try to do something else, or if I try to come across something else, I can feel that within myself, and I know that that's going to come across and that's going to translate. And all I wanted to do as a host was to encourage. And sometimes it's really hard, especially if you're a solo, host, like you don't have a co-host with you, to carry that conversation and to carry that dialogue, and for you to get an understanding of what I think and how I perceive things, and the rationale behind that. And I just wanted to be completely transparent and completely open, and allow my listeners to potentially look at a topic in a different way, in a different light, but then also not be so hard pressed on my opinion that I don't give people a chance to want to listen to me and
Mhm.
be completely turned off. So it's a good balancing act. And when I know that I have an opinion and I feel like, okay, Jennifer, my voice is not as potent on this complete topic, or it's just literally one-sided, I then want to bring a guest speaker who I know can shape that narrative and give a complete rounded perspective rather than my own. And it's being a host it's really taught me to listen, because a lot of the times is you're talking, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm talking, I have a topic. So I gotta fill up the time and fill up the space, and for me, my mind could go from here to here to here to here. So I have to be conscious and streamline my thoughts better, and make sure that I'm coming across and I'm not ranting. Do you know what I mean? So I'm being conscious of what I'm saying, but then it's affording me the opportunity to actually listen to people, and not listen to respond, but listen to understand.
I-
So yeah, I've learned a lot. This pandemic has really taught me to to listen for
yeah,
sure.
yeah. That's actually one of the biggest things we had learned. I had learned in college under my media communication is that you definitely have to listen to understand and not listen to argue or try to listen to find
Hmm.
out what you're looking for. So I definitely agree on that, and
Yeah.
I definitely understand what you're saying about like the I won't say high anxiety, but like the low anxiety of being the only host. That was my biggest fear when I started out my podcast. I'm like, I don't want to be like the only host. So I was like, I need guests. Like, I need to continue to get guests. But after listening to new podcasters such as you and other people, I have low key trying to start building the confidence and taking tips on how you guys flow and how you guys speak to your audience. Like, for one, I was listening to one of your podcasts, and I love how while you were speaking, you were also asking questions. And in that podcast, you didn't answer the questions, which made me love it more because it gives your audience and your listeners even more time to interact with you. You're like, okay, she didn't answer the question. She's giving me the opportunity to answer, which is great. So that, like I said, like listening to you and other podcasters have given me a little boost of confidence of trying to be the only host. Obviously, like not on every show that I have, but on some
Yeah.
of them, that would be great. Yeah. Now,
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
no, sorry, you can speak. You can speak. I know it's like kind of
Oh no, No, I know. I was just gonna say on that. Yeah, like I think the one tip and the one advice I would give anybody, especially as a single host, is confidence in yourself and
Mhm.
confidence in what you have to say, and know that people are want to listen. Sometimes we can get in our own heads and be like, oh, I feel like it's just me, and it's a lot of pressure, and I'm not even gonna lie to you. At least I think the first two episodes, I did not want to hear myself back at all.
Yeah,
Like I did not want to hear myself,
that's how you
and because
feel.
I'm super, yeah, like I'm super critical. I'm so harsh on myself. I know I'm my harshest critic. I know that. That's
Mhm.
something I'm trying to improve. And it didn't get to a point where, and the thing was, when I started off with the podcast, I wasn't like all about the numbers, because some people get into the numbers and like, okay, how many people listen to this and that. I just wanted a place to just talk,
Yes.
right? I wanted a place to just talk and to just share, some of my thoughts and things like that. And it wasn't until I started getting the feedback from friends who were like, and friends that I don't even like talk to like that will be like, yo, Jen, I just listened to your podcast. Like, this was great. Like, or you have a really great voice, Jen. Like, it's really soothing. And it was just that to me gave me the confidence to be like, you know what? Even when you're struggling for a content or a content idea, or you feel like, ooh, this is gonna shake the table, do it.
Yeah.
And do it with your chest. So
Okay,
yes,
I like that. Do it your chest.
do it with your chest. Definitely.
I'm gonna get a little bit into two of your episodes because like I'm listening to multiple of them, but these are my two favorite. One is because you use
Okay.
personal stories and you also use other stories, but that you personally know. Another reason why I love it is because
Mm,
you use your emotions, and I'm like, girl, I'm with you. I'm with you. Like, I'm really with you. And that's why I loved it as well. And the two that I really favored was "Flued Out," "Broke Dates," and Importance of Having Your Own. I really thought that was a great one for me to listen to. It
yep.
was really relatable. Sad to say, it was relatable to my life, and you really gave some great tips. Another one was
We all been there.
the other one was the pandemic revolution and owning your feelings. That was my favorite, especially owning your feelings. That was something I really had to learn through 2020. And just to hear your experience and how the pandemic and your feelings actually integrated as well, I was like, okay, wow, like she is really, this is not even just a podcast. This is her genuine life. And this is not just a hobby. This is her little second job. Like, some people like, oh, this is a hobby because I don't get paid for it. But I call my podcast my job because I put in my work daily. Like, you understand? Like, even though I don't get paid for it,
Yep.
this is my job. And I've seen the emotions that you put into your podcast. So, first of all, I want to know, I'm sorry, who was the flown out friend that didn't have a ride home? Like, maybe I missed it, but
Woo!
I...
Right. So let me clarify that one. So thankfully, it's not someone I know personally, but it was somebody that knew somebody. So it was like a friend of a friend situation,
Okay.
and it landed in the group chat, and it was like, okay, we need to come through for her at this moment now, because she was acting a bit reckless, and as a friend, and just trying to be as an older, like, just, I mean, she was young, right? She was like 2021. And while that's not an excuse, sometimes when you're young, trust me, I've been there. Okay, you want to see someone, and when you really want to see
Yeah,
somebody,
make the effort.
all sense go out the window. Like, you ain't got no money to come home. You got a couple of like, you're not prepared, but you're just ready to get there, see him, and go. So I didn't personally know her, but she was a friend of a friend. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, definitely check out that episode.
Yes,
There's a
please.
lot of gems on there. There's a lot of gems on there about making sure you have your own coin. I tell women all the time, I can't stress this enough, even at my age, like, I don't go nowhere. If anyone wants to see me, I will I make sure I have enough money to cover whatever I'm going to do there, and I have enough money to come back. Because I mean, you go on Twitter now, and there's Twitter debates and conversations about a dude paying $200 for a meal, and you just sat here like, hold on, y'all are here fighting over how much you're gonna pay for food. Food. Talk less about hopping on a flight and going to see someone in another city, in another state. I mean, just don't be on Twitter going viral because you hopped on a plane and you have no coins. That's it.
That was literally my favorite line when that's what you said at the end of the show. I just love that. I was like, yes, exactly. Because that is the biggest thing, which is so sad about my generation, is that a lot of people think that that's the biggest thing to do or the best thing to do is to get flown out or to get paid for or all these expensive things, knowing that 9 out of 10 the story that you're getting is not going to be correct. Like, you know, so definitely, ladies, if you're watching this, make sure you hold your own money, like she said. I'm gonna give you a little sneak peek of the episode. She told us that if you go out, make sure you have a little coins in your pocket just in case you can't pay. Cause I've been there.
Right.
Been there. Somebody act like they forgot.
Hello.
Okay.
I've been there too. And nothing worse than having a check and he looking at you and you looking at him and he looking at you. And you're like, sir, you were the one that asked me here.
Right. So that'd be the funny part.
Like, if you broke, stay home. Why are you coming out here to embarrass the both of us? Because don't do it. Don't do it. Always have your own. Thankfully, I was able to pay for him, you know, and myself. And that was the last time he saw me.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yes, exactly. She said, bye. Okay.
He was like, oh, this is lovely. I want to do this again. No, we're not doing anything again. Okay. I don't know you.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
So I'm kind of curious of how I listened to it on your podcast, but it made me question it more. As you can see, I'm pretty sure, and I'm just assuming, so please correct me if I'm wrong, Americans handle the pandemic more than UK. And I feel like you guys are probably handling it a little bit better. So tell me how you're feeling through the pandemic, how your podcast is surviving through the pandemic, and like give us some little tips of how you are still enjoying yourself while being in the house, because some people around me really just can't sit down.
You know, let me just tell you. So we've gotten back. This pandemic it's a trigger word now. Anytime I hear it, it's a trigger word, because in the UK, we've been in lockdown since March last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking about lockdown to the point we were in call it almost 3-month lockdown, being in the house, not going anywhere, nothing was opened. It then got relaxed and where we had a tiered system. And I tell you, last year I went to the restaurant and once there was like maybe 4 weeks to 5 weeks when things were semi-normal in terms of you can go to a restaurant, but clubs and everything else was closed. So I went to a restaurant once. Sat down in a restaurant, had a drink, and left once. And that's a lot of people here. And the natural things that we had, gyms were even closed. They just opened the gyms back up 4 weeks ago. And mind you, that whole time they were closed as well.
Yeah.
And now we're back in our 3rd lockdown, and we're not set to come out of that till late February. So if you can think about it, in the UK as well, it's freezing here. So the first lockdown, it was actually good weather. Like, it was the hottest summer ever here. And we were in lockdown. Can you imagine? The irony of it all
I'm about to
was
say.
it was so hot outside, and it does not get hot like that. We do not have hot summers like that. And we could only go to the park. Like, you could not do anything. And And the first lockdown, I think I was in so much of a shock. I made sure that I could go out as much as possible because it was light, the weather was nice. So I was out, and I'm an outdoor person. So I was going on walks, I was going on hikes, and I was furloughed as well. So I didn't have work. So I felt rested. The first time in a while, I was rested, and I was motivated to do something for myself. So my podcast, when I first started, was like my self-care. It was a part of my self-care. And as we have kept coming along with the lockdown, people have been getting agitated here. And we get mostly agitated, especially when I talk to all my friends back at home. And I see y'all, some places, it's like coronavirus, what? Who? Where? Like, are we living in the same like globe, Earth? Like, hello, there is a global pandemic, and y'all are really in the club talking about duck if you buck. Like, do you really need to be in the club right now? Right. Trust me, we all want to get in the club. We all want to throw it back. We all want to do a little, like, we all want to do these things. And then just to see people like hopping on planes and going to Mexico and going here and here and here. And we're set all the way over here, like, damn, like, we're really repressed here because of the strict measures, and they keep constantly going up and down, so it's not consistent, so you're playing with people's emotions. And then you just look across, literally, and then you look across the pond, and then there's people in restaurants drinking, in clubs, you know, with their friends, hopping on flights, you know, talking about a pandemic where selfies, you know, on an island somewhere drinking a cocktail. And you're envious, and I'm envious. I'm not gonna lie. I'm super envious. All my travel plans went out the window. Do you know what I mean? So it's dark here. It gets dark. It's cold. We're all upset. We're all angry. The gyms are closed. You know, trying not to eat our way to Norbit status. So so hello. It was like. I was like, this summer 2020, you're gonna get whatever body I'm gonna give you, okay? Yeah. 2021, whatever body is gonna come summer, you're gonna have to appreciate it. Rolls and all, wherever, you know, all 2021. What beach? I don't know. Maybe. Do you know what I mean? So, but it's just these different things where you like. I have to keep telling myself like, I'm not alone in this. But my mental health is real. And listening to other people's podcasts, and everyone's in different places in their life and at different places locally. It's interesting because it's kind of like you're getting an insight into people's worlds. And that to me has been so refreshing because even though I'm in the house, literally in the house, I'm here and I'm kikiing away and I'm laughing away and I'm doing all of these different things because thankfully we have technology that connects us, like it's connecting us now. You're all the way to, you know, I'm 5 hours ahead of you, and yet we're still sat here having a conversation, laughing. And even though I haven't physically left my house,
because I know
don't feel bad, girl, because don't feel bad. Don't feel bad because it's 7:30. Girl, I ain't got nowhere to go. So we have nowhere to go. We in the house. Okay. This is the clubhouse. So it's things like this that kind of make the pandemic a lot better. And what I was saying and what I was actually deep in was that before coronavirus happened, I really struggled with keeping and maintaining relationships with friends back at home because of the time difference. And a lot of the times I would sacrifice sleep because I wanted to talk to my friends. So I would stay up knowing that I had work in the morning, but I wanted to talk to a friend. So now that this coronavirus has happened and some of y'all are supposed to be in the house, I'm gonna need y'all to come join us.
Right.
But it's allowed, right? But it's allowed, us to really like connect. So whether it's through, podcasting, whether it's through house party, whether it's through Clubhouse, whether it's on Twitter, whether it's on Instagram, this has been the biggest con about, or not con, sorry, pro about the pandemic, connecting with people and actually forcing people to sit down.
I definitely
so
agree.
Yeah, so that's a long-winded way of how I'm dealing with it.
No, you made some great points, especially I definitely love the point that you said, like, it helps you, well, not help, but because of the pandemic, we are now connected with people. And that's what, and even because of our podcast, and that's what I mostly enjoy about my podcast. Like you were saying in the beginning, to me, my podcast is not about the views. It's not about any revenue that might come in the future. It's literally about me because this is what I love. And I love that I met new people, new podcasters, and all these podcasters put just new visuals in front of me. Not even that give me more motivation simply because I'm like, okay, they're doing this and they're telling me I'm doing great, but I feel like they're like way exceeding me. So if they notice me, that means like I'm doing something. So make a long story short, yes, meeting new people and just getting to see, sorry to say, but like who your real friends are, has been great. That was a big pro during the pandemic.
A lot of revelations, I'm telling you that. A lot of revelations, relationship-wise, friendship-wise. Woo, some people had to be left in 2020.
Like that, like can't come back. You stay on December
to go. As my friend would say, gots to go.
Now, how is it when you're doing your podcast and your emotions and your feelings get ahead of you?
Oh, I mean, I think the only time I really got real emotional, which was one of the episodes that you mentioned that you liked, which was the pandemic revelations. Mm-hmm. And as I was talking, I could feel myself starting to get emotional and teary. And I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to stop, but in my spirit, I was like, no, like just let it flow. Whatever happens. Now, I wasn't sure if I was gonna be, Baja, who, all over, but I didn't want to stop that authenticity that was happening at that moment in time. Just as much as I'm, laughing and cracking up about, reminiscing about something that's happened, I've also allowed that to happen. So I just told myself, I'm not stopping whatever comes out, whether it's laughing, whether it's crying, if it happens and that's what I'm feeling at the time, just let it roll out. Because as you said, people connect to that and you don't know what someone is going through at that moment in time when they're listening. And if that connects with them and that lands with them, that's an authentic moment that's happening there. And the reason why it's authentic is because I was authentic in that moment. And that requires a level of vulnerability. Just coming on here and sharing your views and sharing and opening yourself up to your listeners requires vulnerability. And if you already made that decision right there, that's just the first step. Everything else comes. So whatever is meant to come out, let it come out and let your listeners take that in and do with it whatever they like. And I'm telling you right now, a lot of people came back to me on that episode and was like, you know what, that's deep. Like, thank you for sharing, because I've been going through some stuff too that I haven't been able to express, and to me, I was like, okay, good. I don't feel alone in this. And I know I didn't, but knowing that I could let that out, like my chest, like when I was talking, my chest was in pain. And the minute that I just said, you know what, I bless somebody, it will. And if not, people can move on. And people resonated with it. And I felt so much better. And I felt like I did myself justice by being honest with myself. Because I always tell people on my podcast, be honest with yourself first. So yeah.
Well, I enjoy that. And as a listener of your podcast, I do appreciate the authenticity that you give us because it does connect. And I also, not even as a connection, I view it as a triumph for you, as like you showing your emotions. It's just like you got into your bubble and now you're reflecting on all the accomplishments you made and it made you emotional, even if accomplished. And I see it as accomplishment because to me, I had to go through it too, which was owning my feelings. So I definitely see that as accomplishment because I used to have a hard problem doing that. So I definitely agree where you were coming from, and I definitely where you came from.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Because yeah, owning your feelings is it's hard. If we're gonna be completely honest, like that to get into that mental space and to actually self-reflect, that's as hard it's harder than most people think. It's easy to look at somebody like, you know what, you're not doing this right, you're not doing this, you're not doing that. But then you have to sit and be like, okay, so how am I feeling in this moment in time? Number one. Number two, is are those feelings justified? Yes or no? Why not? And when you start going through that path of internal reflection, I'm telling you, some things might come up. Oh my God, like I tucked this deep, deep, deep down inside myself. And I didn't even know it was there. Like I numbed this part of my brain, of my heart.
Right.
And now I gotta deal with all of this. And what does that look like? And how with these feelings? Eat? Do you drink? Do you, pornography? Do you have sex? Do you enter situationships? Like, what do you do? And but that all comes out from self-reflection, right?
Exactly. You're exactly right. And that's one thing I love in life is self-reflection because it's definitely a beautiful thing to see where you started and seeing where you are at the moment. It's freezing a little bit. So I have to give it a second.
Definitely.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, definitely. You're frozen.
Wi-Fi is shaky. I'm gonna change it right quick. It really shouldn't mess this. It shouldn't disconnect.
Okay. Are you back?
This is lovely.
Okay. I don't know if it's my internet connection. Let me just stop my video really quickly, just to see if that's gonna help. Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? All right, we're back. It's because my studio is like right across from
Okay,
my
cool.
house, and I've been using my house Wi-Fi, so it got a little shaky. But now we're in the Wi-Fi on my phone, so we should be straight.
Okay, cool, perfect. I thought it was my internet. I was like, hold on, let me turn off my camera.
All right, so just tell me the mission for your podcast. I'm not sure. I know I have a mission for mine. Like for example, mine's is just give me 1 second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh. Sorry about that.
No worries.
All right, but I'm back and ready, and hopefully Wi-Fi is straight and nobody wants to distract me.
No, your Wi-Fi is good.
But what I was saying was, for example, like my mission behind my podcast is designed for everybody, meaning no matter your age, your race, or your religion, or your sexuality. It's just we're having open conversations about having a genuine conversation. And my mission is for everybody just to be heard, down to the people in my generation, as well as entrepreneurs, activists, and anybody that needs to be heard. So tell me your big mission behind your podcast, if you do have one?
Yeah, so I think my biggest mission is to, in terms of relationships and dating, is to kind of prevent us from getting into situationships, right? A lot of the times we don't have the necessary tools to enter healthy, loving, respectful relationships, and we don't know how to communicate with each other as men and women. And so my goal and my mission is to share where I've fallen and I've failed in this area, but then also reflect back in terms of, okay, so how can we be better? How can we be better as individuals, and then how can we be in better relationships when we do come together, and what does that look like? And so I want to use my platform to delve into some of these things. You know, sometimes we can take hot topics like, you know, entanglements and things like that, and we can hoo-ha and kiki about it. But in all reality, we all have dealt with or are currently going to or will experience this at some point. But if that's not where we want to be, and if we want to be relationship minded and marriage minded, um, then how do we get to these healthy places where we can have these relationships, and what does that actually look like? And so that's what I want my podcast to do, to be a mirror, to explore, to go deeper into how we, you know, interact with one another, especially when it comes to dating relationships, because that's a messy space anyways. And then not only talk about, you know, the hot topics, but actually look at why these are hot topics. What's causing us to getting to these situations
Right.
where things are not clear, and how can I provide that clarity? So that's my mission.
I definitely enjoy that mission, because a girl like me is trying to figure out like, why is it happening to me, or why did it happen? So being able to hear like the same or even similar stories with somebody that is had already experienced it is a great listen. It really is. I definitely enjoy the mission that you're coming for, especially for the ladies. I'm big on. I'm a women activist. I love everybody, but I'm big on the women, because I simply feel like we just need more defiance to us. We need more mouths, more speakers, and you're definitely one of the speakers for us when it comes to relationships. Like, you know, you hear about relationships on the radio,
Yeah.
like that, but if 9 out of 10 has a man's opinion. So just having single-sided, or not a single, I don't want to say single-sided, but having a woman's experience, and you be able to be like, okay, like, I'm not hearing a man's experience and he's just kiki and kaka, because they don't even take it serious when it comes to a woman's emotions. So make a long story short, it's definitely refreshing to hear you speak about relationships and other things, because a lot of podcasts do speak on it. But listen, and like, people don't know, like, this collab came so quick, like, you know, so quick. So listening to your podcast in like the matter of 2 days, I'm like, you're different. And I'm not saying that because I'm on this meeting with you. I'm just telling you what's real, because my listeners and my friends know, like, I tell you straight up. And you're really different when it comes to different podcasters. You are really soft-spoken, clear. Your vocabulary, I don't know. Sorry to say, I love somebody with a large vocabulary, because you get me to learn new words. So I'm like, okay, like, she gave me 2 lessons, educational. So I'm with it.
Hello. Come on, grammar. Let's go. See, I'm here. I'm trying. I'm just trying. So I appreciate that feedback so much. I really do, because, you know, when you are listening to other people's content, right? So I'm a huge advocate of listening to other people's content.
Yes.
Because my voice is just not the only lone voice, right? There's so many ways to attack a particular topic. And for you to pinpoint, you know, some of the gems that we've taken away from my own is really, like, I love it, because it's not every day you hear feedback, right, about your content. And so I humbly say thank you for that. And then also that I'm helping you with your grammar. Come on, girl. Yes, we're here to motivate. We're here to level up. Yes. Definitely.
So I can explain why you're different. I feel like I just did, but you can explain to my listeners because, like I say, and like I'm going to continue to say, January is all about us podcasters and hosts. I want people to listen to the fresh faces, and
Yep.
when I say fresh faces, it don't mean like you just had to start. Like you could have started 2 years ago, but the fresh faces to me is people that's trying to make this out a career or just like are trying to be the up and coming. Anybody that's not a celebrity, okay? We need
Right.
to the fresh voices, fresh faces. So, as my listeners and my viewers watch us and listen to us as this conversation, episode 20, explain to them why you're different than the other podcasters. You are. You are. I'm letting you know you are.
Yeah. I'm so happy that you said I'm different because sometimes I don't feel I'm different, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? But I think what makes me me, I think maybe I'll frame it that way. What makes me me is that I'm gonna give it to you real. This is not just, my own opinion and just saying things to be funny and saying things to get views and to get, laughs and stuff like that. A lot of it is very personal to me. And I think that genuineness, to say, listen, I've been here, so I'm not coming to you all, I mean, talking about grammar, I forgot the word, but I'm not coming to you in a way that's condescending or a way that's so matter of fact. But I'm coming to you as, listen, I've been here before and I learned some things. And now as I'm going through and learning, let me tell you some of these things that you need to consider because younger me appreciates what I've gone through now. But at that time, you could have told me any of these things. I wasn't listening. I wasn't in a place. I wasn't in a mind frame to absorb all of this in.
Right.
And as somebody who's in a space that is, I mean, it's oversaturated. There's so many people talking about dating, relationships, and sex. Sometimes you feel like you can get drowned out. But if you want real content, real stories, and actually advice that's genuinely going to help you as a person in a relationship or in dating, then definitely my podcast is for you.
Yes, I
Because
like that. I like that.
yeah, definitely.
Now, would you say your podcast define you because you tell your stories, or do you define your podcast?
I definitely think I define my podcast because some of these stories shaped me. It didn't define me, it shaped me. And I have some wild stories I have not even released, I haven't even shared. And sometimes I'm like, hold on one second. Let me go into that vault real quick because
Real soon.
I can tell. I mean, my next episode is about weight, right? And it's about, does your weight impact, your opportunity in getting guys?
Wow, that's
And
a great conversation. And I don't think
and
anybody ever talked about that.
no, I mean, it's a touchy subject. It's a very touchy subject. Might, shake the table a little bit, but I'm gonna be honest. But that honesty and perspective is gonna come from a real, and it's come from a genuine place. Because I have been big, I have been very slim, and I am now very much in between. So, as I said, I'm going to give you real, true life tea on myself, but also real life situations and scenarios. But then I'm also going to give you that level of honesty. And that honesty is not to hurt, is not to embarrass, is not to shame, but it's to just say, listen, like, this is what I know is going to better you and better your opportunity and better your situation because I have had to go through that. And nobody tells you these things. I didn't have a big sister, so I had to become my big sister. Right. I had a best friend, but our situations were different. So no one was telling me these things about dating and relationships unless it was media or looking at my other friend scenario and or my own personal experiences. So sometimes, you don't need to go through some things to understand. If you can get someone who'll be like, listen, sis,
This is not the move.
don't do that. Leave that man alone. Don't go over his house. Don't do this. Don't call. Don't, and if you can have that, then I want to be that for you.
Oh, sorry, it froze a little. I was waiting for you to get back up. Okay, but I heard what you said.
Okay.
I heard everything you said, and I appreciate that. I was just about to say we're getting to the end, so we're gonna start talk about open conversation. But I'm really enjoying this conversation. I'm so I'm low key mad it's about to end because like I said, like all I can do is tell the truth, and just I had to learn. Don't get me wrong, I had to learn, but I have no bad bone in my body anymore. I'm just all juiced up with great energy. So I love to get all the feedback I can. And it's just an honor speaking to you now, simply because I feel like, well, we did start around the same time during pandemic, but just to hear you talk and how you define your podcast and how you explain your podcast and how you explain you with your podcast, it's very motivating, and I can't even think of the word, but but it was very motivating. And found it. Although we start at the same time, hearing you speak about your podcast, it just shows, or I feel like, and it's okay because it's my opinion, that you exceeded a lot of people I talked to, including me. It's okay because I know I'm still trying to understand my branding and my podcast on its own. But like I said, speaking of podcasters such as you just give me more confidence, and I'm honored to speak with you because you have given me a lot of points, as you like to say, gems. I love that. And, I'm very appreciative.
Oh, thank you. No, I mean, it's so funny because I was actually looking forward to this all day, actually. And I I love communicating with people. I've always liked talking. I always like connecting with people. And as I was going through your own content, and the fact is that when you told me how young you are, and I'm just out here like, okay, like these girls are really doing things out here. Like I was not doing this at 2021. Now I had a blog, so I was creative in that way. But just to see, the level of confidence that you have to reach out to people. I mean, this the seriousness that you take yourself, your brand, your podcast. I literally was like, oh my God, hold on, Jennifer, you need to step this up like now.
Really?
And yes, I was so impressed, so impressed. Because you always get people who want to reach out, and that you just can tell when people are serious and when people aren't. And you were serious about yours, and you came through in a manner that was so professional. And you know, and the fact is that you did your research, and the fact is that then you got me curious, and I was like, hold on, let me see what she's about. And I have enjoyed all. I literally was like, okay, oh, this is good. Oh, let me watch this. Oh, okay. And I really enjoy that. So it is very much touche, girl. Even after this, support is definitely there. I will definitely share, definitely let people know about you and what you do, because I am really enjoying this, and I'm really liking how you are going about this. And I definitely see greatness in you.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that. That does mean a lot because I do take this very serious. Like I try to explain to people, this isn't a hobby. I'm trying to make this into a career for myself. And if I don't start now taking it serious, I would never. So yeah, I take this as serious. Like I get paid $100 a day. Like that's how serious it is to me.
And it shows. And that's the thing, is it shows. And if you continue with that energy, you continue with that level of consistency, I'm telling you, it's going to take you places.
Thank you. I definitely appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I'm ready to get into open conversation because I am definitely big on goals and plans. I love to hear people manifestation big. I'm big on that because I definitely believe once you manifest, once you speak on manifestation, it is bound to happen.
Okay. Yeah, definitely, for sure. Okay, go ahead.
So what is a big plan for your podcast of 2021, or just it doesn't even have to be the works of it, the background of it. It could be something small. It could be something big. What is your plan to continue to exceed in your journey in your career as a podcaster?
My big goal, and I said this, was to connect with other podcasters. And I know, listen, no, and let me just tell you, I'm so amped right now because I literally wrote down in my book, and I was like, I need to connect with more podcasters, but I need female voices outside of my own to get a wider narrative. A lot of my speakers have been guests, male speakers, and I've loved their input, right? I've loved their input because sometimes you need that balance from a male perspective when it comes to dating and relationships. But I also want to connect with my female podcasters. And so that is a number one goal for me this year is to get more voices and more female voices to understand that number one, women, we are not the same. We don't think the same, but we have the same similar stories. They just may look different.
Right.
So my manifestation is to definitely broaden my network, get more female hosts on my show, and to really truly start that dialogue. And I want to take my podcast outside of just Instagram. And funny enough, this is something I've dealt with a lot because I was a print journalism major. A lot of people said, Jennifer, why don't you broadcast?
Right.
You
Mm-hmm.
have the face, you have the voice. And I always said, no, I'm happy to be behind the screen. And what I realized is that people's only touch point isn't just Instagram, right? There's so many different touch points. And like how we're doing a visual episode right now, which you're going to place on your different channels, people want to see the face behind the voice, right?
Right.
So these are opportunities for me to be like, you know what, Jennifer, I know you're comfortable being behind, but you can also add value in this medium space.
Right.
So that's another thing I was like, you know what, Jennifer, get out your comfort zone
And
and put yourself, literally put your whole self out there, not just your voice.
right. And especially like I used to be like that too. I used to be like, oh no, like I don't want to show my face, like, cause I'm like my expressions, like they don't catch up with my brain. So I'm like, I be making expressions like, like somebody just seen that. So I definitely had a hard time with it, but I don't know. I love the fact that I had to learn a lot of things I had to grow into because I used to be like a homebody introvert. But I had to learn that people absolutely love my expressions. They might laugh at it. They might be like, okay, she's bugging, but it brings an opinion to the table. So that's another reason why I started YouTube. And like you were saying, everybody wants to see the face, the voice. Like, they want to see if what you're saying matches to like the content matches with the face, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, so those are my main two things. And I was like, Jennifer, number one, connect with your females, and which I want to do because I was like, I have girl talk all the time, and I would love to bring girl talk. I will. Number one guest. Actually, you know what? After this, no, seriously, after this, I have some content. I'm building out my content plan. And I will definitely send some topics along your way. You pick and choose which one you are happy to, and we will get back on this, and we will definitely. You can be my first. You know what? You will be my first female podcaster this year.
Don't get me hyped.
Girl, I'm ready. I'm like, can we record now?
Yeah, right. I'm down.
I'm ready. But yeah, definitely. I will send you some stuff. You pick and choose, and we will flow and let it go.
Right. And that's genuine. That's what a genuine conversation is. That's what we're all about at my studio. A genuine conversation because that brings the connection.
Yes, definitely.
And we're at the end of the show, but everybody's now. Great conversation. I love it. But before we go, you were speaking about connecting more with podcasters. So if you're down, I do want to invite you on this collaboration I'm having with 6 other podcasters. And now I'm just thinking about adding more people to it. But it's on the 13th of January. It's at 6:30. And if you're down, I'll send you the contract. And it's just a group of podcasters sitting on Zoom. And we just speak about the topics that I give. And it's just all about motivating each other, connecting, learning about new podcasts, obviously, and just trying to give each other new ideas. Because I believe, like you were saying in the beginning, like listening to other podcasts actually like helps you improve, and that's never a bad thing. So that's what I'm looking forward to accomplish on the 13th. And not even that, I don't really see like a community of podcasters such as you would see like the community of YouTubers, TikTokers and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to start like a new friends. I believe that podcasters should really get together because we're all in the same boat, just because we're not staying in the same room. So if you're down the contract,
sign me up. Right? Okay. Sign me up. Sign me up. I am there. As I said, I'm putting myself out there more. I'm connecting. I'm going to take more opportunities. And I think having discussions with fellow people gives you so much insight, and it actually grows you as a person. So it will grow your platform, but it will also grow you as a person. And I think that's so important. And then once you get that, I mean, I'm telling you, like-minded people find themselves. Let's say water seeks its own level. Okay. I'll just leave it there.
I like that quote. Hello. I really love that you said that. It doesn't only grow your platform, it grows yourself. Like, you just made the perfect words for me, like, because that's exactly what I was trying to get at. But obviously I couldn't put in that sentence. You definitely, you did it great for me. So I appreciate that.
Oh, no worries, girl. You can use that as your slogan. Go ahead, girl. Go ahead, dropping gems. But definitely, so thank you so much. I know we're coming to a close, but thank you so much for having me on here. This has been very insightful for myself. It has motivated me. It has given me more confidence. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing. Definitely send me the invite and the contract for the 13th. I am down for that for sure. And definitely once this gets out, I will definitely share it, amplify it on my socials and my Facebook page. And then also on that, check out your DMs. I'll be giving you some topics in the future and we will coordinate.
Click, sure. Girl, you might get something in your DM before you send me something.
well, let's go. And see, this is the power of putting yourself out there and connecting with people. And I've been on Clubhouse, the app, and there's so many people who say, you know what? Don't be your worst enemy. Put yourself out there. You do not know who is willing and waiting to receive you at the end of it. So kudos to you for that, because this little push that you've done, you don't know how much that has validated some of my thoughts in my head already. And that was, I guess, God sent you my way, because he was like, what did you say in 2020? Okay, here you go.
Like to stay over here. I look out for the real one. So
right, for real. He was like, okay, I want to see you. You said it? Okay, let's see you. So this is seeing my vision and my thoughts, and you being that vessel for it. So thank you so much.
Of course. Your podcast will definitely go far. I'm with it. I need to subscribe. I only got time to listen to the interviews, but I'm definitely subscribing after this. I'm definitely for the visual though. I definitely believe that you should get visual, because your emotion and just the compassion you give needs to be seen. Definitely. That would just make everything like 1,000 times 10 more stronger for you, because it's really genuine in your conversations.
You know what? Thank you so much. That is the validation I need. That is the kick up the butt. I have heard you. I have absorbed it, and I will definitely do that. So thank you.
Of course. Again, thank you so much for being on my show. Roommate.
Go ahead.
Roommates, if you haven't already, go listen to Let's Chat by Jennifer. I'm going to continue to drop her name all week, all next week, and we're just going to promote the hell out of her because she deserves it.
Thank you. And as I said, I will definitely have your girl on my podcast, and we are going to get into some things. So look out for that. And I'm telling you, that is going to be a good time. So thank you so much for this. And yeah, if you guys want to check out my podcast, definitely do that. But once again, your girl's doing some really good stuff here. So thank you so much for having me.
All right. From the two queens roommates, we'll see you next time.
See ya.